In the story of Jacob, before he falls asleep, he uses a stone as a pillow to rest his head before the dream of Jacob's ladder. Now, to remember, Freud and Jung worked on dream interpretation, which they said held the unconscious in its most performative state through dream, so that the unconscious could represent itself through dream state. Now again, another relation to inorganic phosphate. This stone could symbolically be the Philosopher's Stone. For one, the dream is transformative. What Jacob goes through himself later on, initiated by this transformation, for he is known as the one who wrestled with God, which psychologically is more of an internal battle with the self, for he lacked humility. For example, confronting one's own psychological problems. It is interesting in this case because in Genesis, after confronting the self with God, Jacob decides to call the name of the place in which it was done Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. This is what it says in Genesis. And this is extremely interesting because Peniel means face of God, and this to me links psychologically to the Kundalini Ajna chakra, which is in association to the pineal gland, the place of the winged seed, the third eye, and of Kundalini being the coiled snake rising up the spine in a spiral fashion, no different from the structure of Jacob's ladder presented by William Blake. So what does he do after the dream of the ladder? He sets the stone that he slept on as a pillow and pours oil onto it as a kind of offering and initiation sacrifice by saying, I quote, "If God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on," which means clothing, he calls the place of the stone Bethel, meaning God's house. So this is a symbol, I think, for transformation through psychological and alchemical sacrifice and change from what he has experienced through the dream that represents the unconscious. He has initiated the personal Philosopher's Stone, which also links in with the idea of reaching or going on to the path of Gnosis for experience via a particular sacrifice. To refine the Philosopher's Stone so that one can ascend the ladder of divinity for the soul. And in a minute this will be stretched out and expressed and explained even further when we look into spiral cosmic snake symbolism.